Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Sari Baatein and hope you are doing good, keeping yourself safe from this monster virus. And I'm just praying and I'm just hoping that we get through this time soon. Uh, just a second. Just keep yourself safe, and I can just say that follow all the COVID appropriate behavior, keep social distancing and wear a mask. I'm just praying that this time should get over soon. And we have a special guest with us as well to discuss about one of a topic which is very close to my heart. So let me get her in first. Just a second. One second. Let me get her in. Just a second. So yes, today we are going to discuss about what next should be done. Obviously, we are going through an unprecedented time. We couldn't have thought about it. I think we have never imagined about it that we will live in a situation like what we are in now. So today's this topic is all about what next should be done. So that our next generation or we don't face any such environment or any such situation in future. So for discussing all that, we have a guest, special guest with us. Just a second, I'm just waiting for her to join. Hi, ma'am. Welcome to the show. It's so nice to have you here. Uh, Ma'am, you're not audible.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I'm able to hear you now.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So, ma'am, we were discussing about the unprecedented time that we are going through, and our topic is all about that today. That what next should be done from our end, so that we be assured that we don't face a situation like that in future. And to discuss that, we have a special person in front of us who is just there with us today. She is a speaker, and most importantly, I think she weaves beautiful stories on sensitive topics, and she has been quite vocal about it in all her social media sharing in Instagram. And most importantly, I think I just love your stories, and I just love the topics that you generally bring up. It's inspiring, and it I think whoever reads that they are inspired and they get answers about their problems, what they are facing. So you have been an inspiration for so many. Thank you so much, ma'am, that you have joined us today.
That's
Welcome
really
to the show.
thank you. Thank you.
So, ma'am, the unprecedented time that we are going through right now, the world has seen, and India is still facing the second surge of this COVID virus. So, ma'am, what do you think? What should be our next step in this, so that our next generation, our future, uh, our future generation doesn't face situation like this?
Wow, that's really big question, Mala. I suppose where we need to start is not everybody is in the same situation. I mean, there's a great inequality just within countries, even globally, right? I mean, if you look at for example, like, at the access to vaccines, for example, the Western countries and the richer countries have so much more access to vaccines than the poorer countries do, and whether it's treatment and all of that. So, I think it's really hard to kind of look at it from a global perspective. Even to take it down to a national perspective, it's hard because there's so much inequality, in countries as well, right? Certainly true of in India. It's certainly the case here in Malaysia as well. We are seeing another surge of COVID cases, and it's pretty serious. I mean, we might be headed towards some very serious kind of measure in the next couple of weeks if the numbers don't come down. So much inequality going on. Where do we start? I think the only place to start is individual responsibility. And it has to be an individual responsibility to do what you can in order to play part. For some people, that might mean donating money. For others, it might mean, perhaps giving more hours of their jobs. For others who work on the front line, it might mean unprecedented sacrifice. For a vast majority of people, doing what you can at home.
Yeah, that's true. But then, as a normal human, like a third person who is sitting here, who might not be who is not a frontline worker, or so what can be our contribution towards towards the earth and towards situation like this, so that we can, whatever possible, be small or big, we can contribute something. So what do you think about it?
I really think that the solution lies in I know everybody talks about a collective we. Everybody talks about the collective kind of need that society needs to play. But I really think that hiding behind the we is sometimes a little bit of the problem, because people will stand and say, oh no, we need to do this and we need to do that. What are you doing on an individual basis? What are you doing? I mean, you take, for example, right, sometimes you see on Instagram, you see all these posts and messages about, we should be fevers, we should be doing this and we should be doing that. But really, what have you done on a personal level
True.
support these causes that you speak about? Which is why that when it comes to this kind of situation that we're in, it's hard. It's really, really hard to say, simply because I mean, you say that there are, you said that, the regular people are kind of listening in, but there's really no such thing as that. Everybody takes their own battle. You have no idea who's listening to us right now who's probably just lost their job, or lost a family relative, or been told a really bad piece of news. So I think there needs to be this kind of step back, and I think, if possible, people need to be able to think about, okay, what can I do? What is that small kind of step that I can do to contribute, and contribute without expecting the same of everybody else to do?
That's such an important advice that you have given. So ma'am, yeah. And apart from that, what inspires you to, you have started this handle, your Instagram handle, and what inspires you to talk about this important topics that you have taken up in your posts that you put up? So apart from your beautiful sari photos that we see, I think I'm mostly attracted towards the post that you put up, the write-ups that you give. So what are the inspiration behind that? So how did you decide to start this? And if you can give a light on that journey of yours.
Are you talking about how Saris and Stories started as a page?
Yeah, Sari story started, and the topics that you pick up,
Right. So it started 5 years ago for the simple reason of wanting to document my saris. Most of the saris that I wear were hand-me-downs from my grandmother, and I knew that they were not going to last forever. They were already 40, 50 years old at that point in time. So I started this to be able to document saris, but then along the way, I am a writer, so in my natural kind of habit, or my natural kind of inclination, is to be able to write about what I'm thinking about, or what has occupied my thoughts for the day. And I find that what I did was literally on my mind, I just kind of spilt onto the page, and people started to respond to it. So I don't really think it's see, who you see on Instagram is exactly who I am in real life,
Yeah,
in the sense of what I
that's true.
believe in, what I talk about, what I sound like, the causes that I choose to kind of be vocal about or not be vocal about. It's exactly the same. There isn't a kind of Instagram me and then a real life me. It's the
Yes,
same
true.
person. So
Yeah.
what you see or hear or read me still exactly what I've read in the news that has kind of made me kind of think, and and it's probably forced me to kind of share my thoughts on it. And if it requires a call for action, then perhaps I might do the call for about that.
That's really nice. Thank God you decided to start this, and thank you for putting up all the beautiful write-ups. I think that's really wonderful, and you are doing a great, great initiative in terms of your creativity. That I have to say. So, now, and what about what are your thoughts on like sustainable living and coordinating with our lifestyle, so that as we are all discussing about this unprecedented calamity that we are seeing, and like for example in India, around my region only, I'm seeing there are so many incidents of wildfires, I'm seeing incidents of earthquake, I'm seeing incident of untimed flooding, and many of them are also man-made. So how do you consider coordinating the sustainable living that we speak or we discuss into reality, so that we don't face scenario like this in future? So what are your thoughts about it?
I don't know whether it's possible not to face a scenario like this again. I think that the whole nature of the world and the whole nature of planet Earth is to be unpredictable. The whole nature of nature is to be able to really do what it wants, not something there to for man to control. And the truth is, I mean, humankind has been messing with the environment for quite a few decades. It's not really something that we can kind of sit back and say, "Oh my God, a terrible earthquake happened or a terrible forest fire. What do we do about it now?" Really, this were conversations that people should have been having 20 years ago, 30 years ago, but they didn't. So I don't know whether it's
Yeah.
possible to. Climate scientists say that it's not possible to reverse the decline anymore. Some of them say that it is possible. So I think again, it comes down to an individual responsibility, right? What can you do in your own space and sphere to conserve energy and to reduce, reuse, and recycle? Again, it's not something that I would ask of everybody, because not everybody can afford to. I mean, let's
Of course.
say that the save planet Earth is for everybody to go vegetarian, let's say, right? What happens to all the livestock farmers? What happens to all of the people who depend on animal protein, for example? It's a huge ask, right? But then, if you, in your individual capacity, think that, you know what, I think I could eat less meat and I could consume less resources, and that's what I would like to do, then that's the way forward. It's really, really hard to kind of enforce sweeping kind of changes on people. So again, I think it comes down to individual responsibility. So you might not, for example, be somebody who recycles, because maybe you live in a, or a town or a village where really there's no chance to recycle plastic. There's no way you can go without incurring great cost, which you cannot afford, by the way. Okay, so what do? You might do something different. Your lifestyle might already be sustainable in different ways. For example, you might conserve water, or the way that you consume food, or the way you kind of reuse your clothing. There's so many different kind of facets. I think to expect people to make massive change is hard. I would suggest that, if anybody out there is really interested in kind of making sustainable tweaks to
Yeah.
their life, thing to do is to go and read on the internet. There are so many, articles and hacks about what you can do, and all these lists, right? Save water and make sure that every clothing that you have, you get 30
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
of, or don't use. So it's hard, right? Especially, let's take the example of don't use plastic. It's almost impossible to not use plastic. Some people, a lot of people won't be able to do it. But then what are the things that you can do to mitigate that use? And you've got to be able to adapt it for your own lifestyle. So and I think go out there, go and read and research what are the tweaks that you can do, and make a commitment to yourself that every year you will try and adopt two things that you can change slowly.
So
that it
the
doesn't
change,
seem like,
yeah.
so that it doesn't seem like such an overwhelming change at the same time.
That's right. What about, ma'am? Choices about. So if we again come back to our fashion and fashion, like fashion and retail, I guess this is one of the most spoken industry that is releasing so much of waste, and they are saying that it's one of the major contributor towards the entire disaster that is happening to the earth. So, ma'am, what do you think about your choices of wearing, restyling? Or we have to be cautious about how much carbon footprints we are leaving behind. So what are your thoughts on that? So what about reusing, restyling, and the choices that we opt regarding what we wear? So what are your thoughts on that, ma'am?
Well, certainly I'm in favor of reusing. That's one of the reasons why I wear a lot of hand-me-down sarees. Because I don't think that a saree's lifespan ends 5 years after it's bought. I regularly wear sarees that are 30, 40 years old, and to me, I would rather wear a 30-year-old polyester saree over and over again rather than go out and buy a new organic handloom cotton saree. I don't see the point of it. Why would I go out and purchase new when I already have something that's perhaps unfashionable? Because everybody says, oh, you shouldn't be wearing polyester. But there's nothing wrong with wearing polyester if I've been wearing it for the last 30
your
years.
choice.
And it's wear. Likewise, there's a lot said about high street fashion and fast fashion, right? For a lot of people, that is what they can afford. It is, I think, a very elitist conversation to have, to say that you've only got to look at sustainable materials, and you've only got to look at sustainable fabrics, and you have to support handloom. Great, if you've got tens of thousands of dollars coming into your bank account every day, and you can afford to make sustainable choices like that, good. But if you can't, then look what you have that's already existing in your wardrobe and see what you can do to get as many wears out of those. And I always say this, right? What you can do then, in Malaysia where I live, we have access to fabric recycling NGOs. So they actually do collect old fabric that cannot be donated to be worn anymore, and it's stripped down and it's used for, it's like woven into foot rugs, or used for stuffing, or all of that sort of thing. So there are fabric recycling NGOs. But there are also NGOs who are always looking for old material that they want to repurpose into their craft products to be able to sell. And so that's another option as well. Or you could turn it into stuff for your own home. The options are there. It just depends on how hard you want to work in order to be effective. Because making sustainable choices isn't really, it's not easy and straightforward. It's not as simple as flicking on a LED light switch. It's not. It's hard, and it requires research. It's not as simple as sitting up one day and saying, I want to be more sustainable, and then expecting everything to fall in place around you. You've got to work for it.
Yeah. So I think it's beyond those words where we say that you have to wear this organic. It's beyond those words where we say that
Right.
we should use organic fiber. Sustainability is beyond the fabric and the choice. It's just about, it's just beyond fabric choice and what exactly the fabric details that we speak of. It's basically the choice and the lifestyle that you pick up. It can be like re-wearing your old polyester sari. It's all fine, but it's just that you shouldn't just throw it away just because it's like 2 years old, right, ma'am? So, do you resonate with that thought?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah,
what I've been saying from day.
yeah. That's true, man. That's true. So, yeah, thank you so much for this conversation and your information that like the important insights that you have provided to us. So, do you have any parting thoughts with our audience, or if you want to say something to our audience who are listening to us live today?
Just stay safe, please. Wear a mask, get yourself vaccinated if you can, and think about what you can do for somebody next to you who may not have the advantages and privileges that you have. That's it.
Thank you so much, Ram. It was a complete delight to have you, and I'm so thankful and grateful that you joined us today. And be
Thank
safe.
you.
Be safe. Yeah, yeah, and have a great evening ahead, ma'am.
You too. Bye for
Yeah,
now.
bye, bye, bye.